Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica. Today is officially launch day for the Candy Cane Lane quilt and my newest fabric bundle. All right, I know I've had so many questions about when the release of my next fabric line is coming, and I do apologize. I was actually planning on releasing this back in October, but there was huge delays with the fabric company, and we just got it in. So my family and I have been working feverishly to get this all cut, bundled, and I've been sewing like crazy to try and get my quilt out to you guys so we can get these to you before the holidays. So we're gonna take a quick look at it. Here's what the fabric looks like. If this looks like something you're interested in, I am going to go through all of it, but you may want to pause this video really quickly, run over to my shop, grab your bundle or kit, and then come back and finish watching the rest of the videos because they do sell out really quickly. So that's just your warning. There are limited kits as usual. And before we dive into those, I just want to mention we also have the Candy Cane Lane stitchy ornaments that released a little bit ago, and then also the Candy Cane Lane quilty ornaments that released as well. And you'll notice that they all coordinate, which is really fun. I have both of these ornaments on my tree behind me here. I'll put a little insert of a clip on that so that you can see those up close. And you can also go back and check out those videos as well. And then the quilt actually correlates exactly with all of the stars in our Candy Cane Lane quilty ornaments. So we're going to go ahead and dive in with our fabric first because that's always the fun part. I love looking at new fabrics, and this line is probably one of my favorites as far as holidays go. So it's got all of my favorite colors in there. We have a lot of fun low volumes, reds, pinks, greens, aquas, and browns. There are 36 prints in the fat quarter bundle. Lots of fun. I called this fabric line Sugared because along with the Candy Cane Lane theme, I wanted it to just feel kind of vintage and just super, super sweet. So it's called Sugared, and it is meant to go with my Candy Cane Lane quilt, of course, but you can use it on any holiday project that you like. So for this launch, I do have two different offerings. I have just the fat quarter bundle. It includes 36 fat quarters, all of the ones that you see here, and we will go through all of them a little bit closer. I also have a full quilt kit for you as well. This includes everything that you need to make the entire Candy Cane Lane quilt. Plus you'll have lots of extras because you do get a full fat quarter bundle in that kit. So let's take a quick look at the fabric. We'll go over that up close and personal, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll talk about the quilt. Okay, so let's go through the fabric really quick. I just want to show you your two different options. So since I have it out first, let's just talk about the full quilt kit. So the full quilt kit comes with everything you need to make the entire Candy Lane quilt, including the pattern. You do not need to buy the pattern separately. It also includes these little exclusive stickers. So you get a candy cane, a house, and a little tree sticker. Those are only included in the quilt kit. They are not included in the fat quarter bundle. So just so you know, these are exclusive to the quilt kit. So you get those cute little stickers, and then you get, of course, the pattern. You get a full fat quarter bundle. This includes 36 fat quarters, one of each print in the collection. And then you also get all the fabric that you need for this quilt. So you will get the green. This is for your outer border. You will get the red gingham. This is for your binding. You will get this cute snowflake print. This is for your outer border as well. So you get all three of those prints. And then you will also get all the fabric you need for your background. For the background for this quilt, I did this just creamy background with just tiny little X's and dots on it. This is a really nice low volume. It gives your quilt, I think, some coziness and some texture, but also doesn't stand out or take away from the block. So this is really nice, and it's so soft, so that's why I'm petting it here. If you guys have gotten my fabric before, you'll know it's really, really soft. The other fabric I'm so excited about this year, and this is the backing fabric, is this cute print, and it's got all different holiday cookies on it. These are, of course, not all the holiday cookies, but they're all of my favorites. It's got a couple recipes on here. The recipes are accurate. So if you can read the recipes on here, you could actually make those cookies. The pizzelles that are on here are actually a recipe that are on my website, so you can look up the pizzelle recipe, and that's my mom's recipe from when I was growing up. We've got snickerdoodles, we've got chocolate chip cookies, and then just various other cookies that are fun to make on the holiday season. I thought this would be really fun for the backing. It's just so colorful and cute, and it's got all the colors from all of the fat quarters, so it ties it all together really nicely. So that's what the quilt kit looks like. You get the backing fabric, you get your background fabric, you get your border, outer border fabric. I did a skinny green border, and then you get the red gingham for the binding, plus the 36-piece fat quarter bundle, plus our exclusive little stickers, plus the pattern for the candy cane lane quilt. So all this is going to come in your quilt kit, everything you need. The only thing you would need extra is batting, your sewing machine, and some thread. Okay, so that's everything you get for the quilt kit. We're going to set that aside. And then now we're going to look at the fat quarter bundle, and we'll go through all these prints. If you order the fat quarter bundle, it's just going to come just like this, just the bundle of fabrics. You don't get any of all those extras, but this is plenty of fabric for the candy cane lane quilt, plus some other projects, including the candy cane lane ornaments if you want to make those. I know last time we ran out of ribbon for some of our bundles. I did order extra, so every single bundle will get the Erica Made Be Creative ribbon as well. And maybe next year I'll do a special run for holiday ribbon. That would be cute. Okay, so let's go through all of our prints. This is the background print that I just showed you, the cookies with all the different cookies on it. So you'll get a fat quarter of that. Let me scoot these out of the way actually. And then we're gonna get a fat quarter of the pink snowflakes. I've got this fun holly berry and pine cone, or they're actually little Christmas trees, but I made them brown so they look like pine cones. We've got a stripe. I always love doing a stripe, and it's got holly berries in between. And now we're going to get into our reds. So we've got the red gingham, which is what we're using for the binding. We've got the red snowflake, the red holly berries. This print is really cute. I almost did this for our backing, but these are just little Christmas houses and trees and stars. Look how cute that is. And I tried to do this in multiple color houses for the backing, but it just looked too much. So I didn't do it. I did that text print for the backing, but I think that turned out really cute. Here is the red cookie print. We've got our red stripe holly. We've got mini snowflakes, red mini snowflakes. And then now we're going to get into our pinks. So we've got our pink text print. We've got the pink house print. We've got our pink stripes with the holly, pink snowflakes, the large snowflakes. We've got pink and green holly, and those are the pine cones, but see, now they look a little more like Christmas trees on this one. And then we have our pink mini snowflakes. All right, and I'm going to scoot those up so we can get into our other colors here. So we've got green. We've got a green version of the cookie print. We've got our green house print. And these are two of the darker greens in the line, and then the rest are a little bit of a lighter green to give you a little bit of contrast for those trees in the candy cane lane quilt. And you'll see those in a second. Here is our green stripe print. We've got our green snowflake print. Green mini snowflakes, the green holly, and do they look like pine cones now? I don't know. Pine cones or trees? I think they're pine cones. We have the blue cookie print, and for this one I did red accent on it, kind of like I did on the pink, so I think that's really cute. We've got blue stripe with holly. We've got the blue houses. I love adding blue into my Christmas and my fall. I know you guys already probably know that. We've got this cute holly berry in the aqua. I've been calling it blue, but it really is more of an aqua this year. So let's do aqua snowflakes, the large snowflakes. We have an aqua gingham, and then we have an aqua mini snowflake. And then we have our browns. So we've got the large snowflake, and these are what I used for all the roofs in my quilt, and then also all of our pine tree trunks. So here is the brown holly with little red berries. We've got our mini snowflakes for the brown. We've got our stripe with holly for the brown. We have our cookie print in the brown. I just always am opening these up so you can see all the different prints on it. And then lastly, we have our houses in the brown, and I did this in a little bit of a darker brown shade just to give a little bit more contrast for the tree trunks and the roofs in the line. So let's see if I can fit them all on here. Here's all of our 36 fat quarters that are going to come in your fat quarter bundle. And here's what they sort of look like all together and pretty. And I think this line is just going to be so much fun, and I hope you all enjoy it. So again, this is the fat quarter bundle. This is all of the extras that you get with the kit, including the fun little stickers and also the pattern if you get the entire quilt kit. These are limited edition, so if you haven't already, I do recommend pausing this video, going over to the store, grabbing whichever version you like, and then coming back and finishing watching the video. All right, so that's all of the fun fabric. I hope you guys are gonna like it. And we do have all of our quilt kits pretty much ready to go. We are waiting on patterns, so they will ship out, we're hoping, next week. So this is a little bit of a pre-order, but not really. All the kits are ready to go. We're just waiting for those patterns to get in, but we will be getting them shipped out to you as soon as they get here. Okay, that's it for the fabric. Let's take a look at the Candy Cane Lane quilt. So the Candy Cane Lane quilt is so much fun. It is so cute, and you can do it, of course, in my sugared fabric, or you can do it in any fabric that you like. The quilt itself finishes at 74 by 74, and it's just got a real simple outer border. You know that I like doing a thinner contrast color for my border and then something a little low volume on the outside just to make it a little bit wider. I think it really helps frame the quilt, and this one in particular is no exception. But for the borders on this, I did add a little bit of flair, and we added some little holly leaves in all four corners. So I think that makes the border just look a little bit extra. So per usual, you could skip the border on any quilt that you like, including this one, but I think this one has that little extra holly on the corner, just makes it super cute. All the fabric requirements for Candy Cane Lane are listed in my shop, and then it's also in your pattern as well. So let's take a little bit closer look at this quilt pattern. So I wanted to do something a little bit more whimsical, I guess you could say. It's still, to me, a traditional style quilt because of the houses and the star blocks, but then I set those on a really cute horizontal sashing that's supposed to look like a snowy shelf with little holly hanging underneath each one of the houses. That horizontal sashing actually comes together really quick and easy. It is not complicated at all, but I think it really gives this quilt a little bit something extra special. And then you'll notice that all the stars on the houses correlate with our Candy Cane Lane quilty ornaments as well. I wanted everything to match this year. I think it was really kind of a cool idea to have matching ornaments, you could do just one of the house blocks and make a matching pillow for the quilt, and they all just coordinate really nicely. I think it's a lot of fun. So there are 12 different house blocks, as you see here. 6 of them are facing to the left, 6 of them are facing to the right, and then each one has that different star in the back. The other thing that are sprinkled on our little holiday shelves here are some cute pine trees and candy cane blocks. The candy cane blocks are pretty straightforward. They go together really quickly. I know they look like a lot of pieces, but if you chain piece them, I actually put them together in an afternoon, and I was quite surprised at how fast they came together. So the candy cane blocks are really cute. You could make a series of these and make them into a table runner. So add a candy cane, a tree, and a house, and then a tree and a candy cane, and just make a table, like a rectangular table runner that way. I think that would be really cute as well. So let's talk about these tree blocks really quick, because instead of sewing directly on a square diagonal like we normally would when we are making angled blocks like that, these are actually sewn at a little bit of a different angle. And so I wanted to do a quick video tutorial to show you how to put them together. If you've ever purchased a pattern from me in the past, you'll know that they include step-by-step written instructions, but also colorful graphic illustrations to go with each step of the way. So I think with the combination of this video tutorial plus the pattern, you should be able to get these tree blocks put together really easily. But you'll notice here they are not a 90 or a 45-degree angle. They are a steeper angle. And so I have a really easy way to show you how to put those together. So I'm going to show you right now how to make each of these cute little sections for our tree block. So let's take a quick look on how to put these trees together. So you're going to need your 2 pieces of fabric per your instruction, and I just cut my background piece in half diagonally, and then I drew a line 1/4 inch away from that diagonal cut line. You can do this before you cut your pieces. It is a little bit easier. And then we're going to take our longer side of our green fabric and we are going to mark a little circle right at the halfway point and 1/4 inch in. So this piece is 4 inches wide. You're going to mark it at the 2-inch point and 1/4 inch in. Then you're going to take one of those triangles, and there are graphic illustrations on how to place this in the pattern, and you just want to make sure that when you flip it back, you're covering up that green fabric. Next, we're going to take a pin, and I'm just poking it into that 1/4 inch line about an inch or so down, and then also into the dot that I drew on the green fabric. I'm going to just keep that in place carefully and then rotate that triangle so that the 1/4 inch line meets right at the point, the bottom left point of the green fabric. But you're just going to want to pin that in place. And then I flipped it over here so that you can see you're lining up just that very bottom corner with that 1/4 inch line that you drew on the background fabric. And then we're going to sew right along that line. Now before you sew, and if this is the first one you're doing, you may want to just pin it in place and then just flip it back, and you just want to make sure you have plenty of white fabric going outside the edges of the green so you'll have enough coverage when you press it back. Then we're just going to take that to our sewing machine and we're just going to sew right on that drawn line. And I do sew just a hair to the left side just to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. And then here's my piece I've sewn on that line. And then I'm just going to press the white or background fabric back, and there you can see I pressed it all nice and smooth. And then we are actually going to use that green fabric as a guide to trim off the outside of the white fabric. Just because it's such a weird shape, it's a lot easier to use that pre-existing green fabric. Once we have our white fabric trimmed, we can then flip that back and then use our ruler to cut 1/4 inch away from our stitch line and remove that excess green fabric. And there we have one of our sides of our tree. We're going to repeat that process with the other piece of background fabric. Again, I'm going to take that pin and poke it right at that 1/4 inch dot that I drew on the green fabric and then just rotate it until the bottom point of the green fabric lines up with the 1/4 inch line drawn on the background. And it's hard to see on this green mat. When I do it on a white mat, it's actually a little bit easier to see through. You could also use a light box. And then we're just going to repeat that and sew right on that line just like we did the other one. We're going to press that white fabric back. And again, we're going to use that green fabric as our guide so that we know where to cut off that excess background fabric. Once it looks good, we can flip it back over to the front, flip our background fabric out of the way, and then again trim off the excess green fabric. And there you have your perfect little tree block sewn at sort of an odd angle, but it makes a really cute, tall, skinny Christmas tree for our candy cane lane quilt. And then one other thing I wanted to mention is it really is helpful to draw that 1/4 inch line on all of those background pieces. It's a little bit extra work, but it'll make your blocks much more accurate. The other thing that I found is really helpful is this acorn spray starch. I've been using it quite a bit. You'll want to spray that on your background fabric, press it till it's dry, and then trim your triangles out, and then that way when you are pressing it, it'll keep your fabric from distorting. All right, so here is the tree block. Hopefully that video helped you learn how to put these together. I recommend just doing the first one. You might even do like a practice run on just some scrap fabric just so you have it down in your mind. Once you get one done, you're like, oh, okay, that actually does work out really well, and I think you'll be able to just knock these out in no time. I made them all. I made actually the tree blocks and the candy cane upside down candy cane blocks all in one day. It was a lot of sewing because I was trying to get this quilt done for you, but I'm just letting you know that it is possible actually to just chain piece these and knock them out pretty quickly. Okay, let's talk about the back side of the quilt. You can of course do just a solid backing if you want. I've been really into pieced backings lately. So in the pattern, I did include instructions on how to do the pieced backing if you want. That said, if you do get the quilt kit, it is meant for you to just use that solid backing. I'm not sure if you'll have enough left over to do the pieced backing the way that I have it in the quilt, but you may have enough left over to do your own sort of patchworky section based on your leftovers. So for the pieced backing, it was really easy. I just did a solid piece for my top and bottom. I did a cute red horizontal stripe to separate out that center section. And then you'll see on the wall behind me here, I made this cute little extra house block with one of the extra holly sections, put a little border around it to get it to size, and then I added leftover patchwork squares on both sides of that house just to frame it out. And that's the section where I'm saying you could potentially piece something together based on whatever you have on your leftovers. All the cutting instructions are in the pattern itself, and then you'll see what size that patchwork section needs to be, and then maybe you can put something together based on whatever leftovers you have. But I did think it would be fun to add in a little extra backing option because I've been loving pieced backings, and one of the great things about those is you can piece together all of your scraps, whatever you have left. It uses up all of those leftovers, but then it makes your back just as beautiful as the front. And then of course I did do a label on this as well, and I added my label to the center of my house block that I put on the back of the quilt. I've been doing that a lot lately where I'll just make one extra block, and then this is actually the second star block, and instead of doing a pinwheel in the center, I just did a solid square so that I could add my label to that. My label is from my Sweetwater tagged subscription. As most of you know, I have been a member of that subscription for years. It's great. Every month they send you different tags, and some of them are seasonal, some of them are just pretty generic, so you could use them on any project, but I love those. So I will tag the Sweetwater Fabric Co. below, but that's where I got that label, and I actually just pressed it on their adhesive, and then I just sew around the edge just to give it a little bit extra stability. And then once I'm done with that block, I can just add that into my backing just like I would, and my label's already on there. Now the only thing about that is when I go to quilt this, the label does get quilting on top of it. If you don't want that, you could wait till after you're done quilting your quilt and then just hand stitch your label on. Now I did talk a little bit about that outer border. I used that snowflake print for the outer border. I think it's really cute, and then we do have those holly squares in the corner just to give it a little bit extra pizzazz. And then for the binding on this, I did my standard, which is a red gingham binding. I don't know what it is about gingham, but it just screams Christmas and happy to me, and so I use gingham a lot on my bindings. Gingham or stripe, I think, would be my favorite bindings because they're just enough of a design that you can see them on the binding, and then it gives your quilt just a nice, pretty frame to it. So red gingham for the win for the binding on this quilt. For the quilting on this, I am doing a snowflake and holly quilting. I've done this before. As I said, I'm in a hurry to get this quilt out to you, and so whenever that happens, I usually fall back on something that I'm familiar with doing. I do it on my long arm, but I have an older long arm, so it's not a computerized one where I can put a design in. I have to just do it by hand, and the snowflakes and the holly are really easy for me. I've done it on several different projects, and it looks really cute on holiday quilts. And I do encourage you guys to try quilting your own quilts. It's a lot of fun in the process, so you're making it from start to finish. For this one, I just swirl in and I come straight down, come back up to the middle, go to the left and right and back to the middle, and then I do a diagonal back to the middle and then the opposite diagonal back to the middle. And then at that point, you can actually come out of this little star snowflake any direction that you need to complete however, wherever you have space you need to fill. So you can come out anywhere, make a couple swirls, do a holly leaf, and then keep going. And so that's why I love this pattern. It's just really easy. I suggest if you want to do this, take a piece of paper, take a pencil or a Sharpie, better yet, something you can't erase, and just do it. Just do it without lifting up your pencil. Try and do different designs. I always do a swirl if I need to get myself to somewhere else, and then as soon as I think I have enough space to do a holly leaf or that snowflake, I'll go ahead and do one, and then we'll swirl until I'm at another point where I can do one of those designs. So it's just really easy, and I highly suggest you give it a try. You could also try any of those designs on the smaller toppers that we've been doing this year, or the mini quilts that we've done over the previous years. The smaller ones are a little bit less intimidating and easy to start with if you're quilting yourself, and then you can move up to larger projects like your own quilts. All right, so I think that's everything about our new fabric launch. Again, here is the beautiful sugared fabric line. I hope you guys love it. And then also the candy cane lane quilt, the stitchy ornaments, and the quilty ornaments. So lots of releases for you guys for this year. I hope you are enjoying them all. Now, one other quick thing I wanted to mention for next year's Sew Along for 2026 Sew With Me, I am going to be doing the star blocks from the Candy Cane Lane quilt, but they will be in 12.5-inch sizes. So if you get the Candy Cane Lane quilt pattern, keep those little star block patterns from there, and you can use those to help sew along with our 2026 Sew With Me series. We will be doing a sew along starting in January for that and for this Candy Cane Lane quilt if you want to sew along with us. If you can't wait and you want to make it for this holiday season, you could do that as well. But stay tuned for January. We'll be sewing along with our Candy Cane Lane quilt. I will have monthly video tutorials for each of those star blocks, and then at the end in our Sew With Me group on Facebook, we'll do a couple of fun prizes. And if you aren't already, make sure you join my Sew With Me group on Facebook. That is a private group where we can share our projects and encourage one another and see what everyone is working on. And that is where I've been running our sew-alongs as well, because it's a private group so we don't get a bunch of spammers in there, and it's just a little bit easier to manage. So make sure you join that group and come sew along with us. All right, that's it for today's video release. I hope you enjoy it. I know I took this time slot for block number 11 for our 2025 Sew With Me series. That will be releasing next week. I wanted to make sure to get this out to you guys as soon as I can, so I just bumped that video back a week. So it is coming. Don't worry about that. It will be releasing next week. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can hit the thumbs up button on this video, and you can also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming fun. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next video. There are 30, is it 36, 38? Hold please. 36, okay. I forgot. Okay, so film that fabric and then insert that here. And it has all different holiday cookies on it. So these are, whoop. All right, now I'm taking a quick video. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Bro, that was not 10 seconds. Do you need to rest your arms?
No, my arms are fine. My fingers lost the grip.
Oh, okay, ready? Okay, can you turn it around and we'll do the back side? I need to show the back side. Okay, come here, Bodie. All right, let's go. 10, 9.